The 1977 television miniseries Jesus of Nazareth is a timeless classic that continues to inspire audiences with its moving portrayal of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Directed by Franco Zeffirelli and featuring a cast of internationally acclaimed actors, the series brought biblical figures to life with unforgettable performances and emotional depth. But behind the iconic roles and powerful scenes lies a more somber reality. Many of the actors who starred in this beloved production have since passed away, some under tragic or heartbreaking circumstances. In this video, we pay tribute to those stars, remembering their remarkable careers, personal stories, and the legacies they left behind. Anne Bancroft was born on September 17, 1931, and played Mary Magdalene in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 46. Her portrayal was haunting, transforming a once maligned woman into a beacon of sorrowful grace and spiritual resilience. But behind the poised image, Bancroft waged silent wars. Despite her legendary status, she wrestled with long bouts of depression, particularly after the critical failure of several mid-career films. Her perfectionism alienated directors. One once called her brilliant but unbearable. In private, her 41-year marriage to Mel Brooks masked deeper turmoil. Friends whispered of fierce, behind-closed-doors arguments, and her refusal to bear children reportedly drove a wedge between them early on. Rumors swirled for years of a secret affair with a younger co-star in the early 1970s, a scandal that nearly erupted but was buried with studio hush money. Bancroft's solitude deepened after the death of her mother, and she developed a compulsive hoarding habit that she hid from everyone. By the early 2000s, she was nearly a recluse, battling uterine cancer in silence. She died on June 6, 2005, at the age of 73. Valentina Cortez, born January 1, 1923, stepped into the role of Herodias in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 54, exuding decadent menace as the manipulative queen who engineered John the Baptist's death. In many ways, the role mirrored Cortez's own life, driven, volatile, and fiercely theatrical. Though she was hailed as a European icon, her career was marked by constant reinvention due to scandals that forced her out of prestigious roles. In 1957, she was blacklisted from several Hollywood studios after allegedly sabotaging a rival actress by leaking nude photos to the press. Her fiery affair with director Franco Zeffirelli was whispered to have ended in violence, and she reportedly threw a wine bottle at him during a lover's quarrel. Cortez battled alcoholism for decades, frequently showing up on set inebriated. During Jesus of Nazareth, crew members claimed she refused to take direction and demanded rewrites of her dialogue. Her only son, born out of wedlock, spent years estranged from her, citing emotional neglect. She died on July 10, 2019, at age 96. Ernest Borgnine was born on January 24, 1917, and portrayed the centurion in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at the age of 60. His role, a hardened Roman soldier stunned into belief at the foot of the cross, was a mirror of his off-screen contradictions. Publicly jovial, Borgnine was infamous in Hollywood circles for his crude behavior and vulgar sense of humor. He once admitted, on national television, that masturbation was his secret to longevity, sparking widespread backlash. His personal life was a tabloid minefield. His 32-day marriage to Ethel Merman imploded in such fury that she removed all mention of him from her memoir. Allegations of emotional abuse followed him through several marriages, and one ex-wife accused him of drunken rages. Though never formally charged, Borgnine was sued multiple times by production crews for alleged outbursts and unsafe behavior on set. Behind the scenes, he drank heavily and once had to be restrained during a drunken brawl at a hotel in Rome during the Jesus of Nazareth shoot. He died on July 8, 2012, from renal failure at the age of 95. James Fentino was born on February 24, 1938, and was 39 when he played Simon Peter in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977. Ferrantino's smoldering looks masked explosive temper issues and a disastrous personal life. His 1991 arrest for cocaine possession was just the start. In 1993, he was charged with stalking Tina Sinatra, sending obsessive faxes and showing up at her home uninvited. The case went public and torched his remaining credibility in Hollywood. Ferrantino's first 2 marriages ended in public brawls and restraining orders. His son accused him of being a volatile, absent father, and his co-stars often described him as charming, until he wasn't, a man who could flip from magnetic to menacing in seconds. On the Jesus of Nazareth set, he allegedly clashed with director Franco Zeffirelli over creative differences, once storming off mid-scene. By the 2000s, he was largely unemployable, reduced to minor guest roles and increasingly dependent on painkillers. Ferrantino died on January 24, 2012, at age 73, from complications related to a hip fracture. Tony LoBiano was born on October 19, 1936, and played Quintilius in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 41. LoBiano was known for his gritty, intense performances in crime dramas, yet his career was marred by episodes of conflict and self-sabotage. Industry insiders recall his perfectionism often turning toxic, leading to repeated clashes with directors who found him stubborn and hard to direct. Despite a polished public image, LoBiano's personal life was chaotic. He struggled with a secret gambling addiction that devastated his finances and strained relationships. His marriages were turbulent, marked by allegations of emotional abuse and infidelity, with one ex-wife publicly accusing him of manipulation and anger issues. Late-night drinking binges and erratic behavior were whispered about in Hollywood circles but rarely confirmed. Behind his strong exterior lay loneliness and depression, worsened by years of career frustrations and personal demons. He died on June 11, 2024, aged 87, from prostate cancer. James Earl Jones was born on January 17, 1931, and took on the role of Balthazar in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 46. His portrayal of the Magi was solemn, dignified, and deeply spiritual. But behind the commanding voice and polished public persona was a man carrying heavy secrets. Plagued in youth by a debilitating stutter, Jones became intensely withdrawn, so much so that he didn't speak for 8 years. His relationship with his father, actor Robert Earl Jones, was deeply strained. They reconciled only briefly, but Jones later described their bond as transactional. Despite the absence of public scandal, insiders whispered about his fierce ego and controlling behavior on set. Some co-stars alleged he would rewrite dialogue on the spot and intimidate younger actors. He kept his son out of the limelight, and there were rumors of a long-term extramarital affair with a stage actress in the 1980s that led to a secret settlement. His obsessive privacy extended to his final years, during which he reportedly refused visitors, even family, as his health declined. James Earl Jones died on September 9, 2024, at the age of 93. James Mason, born May 15, 1909, played Joseph of Arimathea in Jesus of Nazareth at age 68. Joseph was portrayed as a dignified, quietly courageous man who defied authority to honor Jesus' burial wishes. Off-screen, Mason's life was anything but serene. His marriage to actress Pamela Mason was a stormy saga of bitter quarrels, infidelities, and public scandal that captivated the British tabloids. Rumors swirled about his numerous affairs, some with much younger women, adding fuel to gossip columns. Mason's disdain for Hollywood's commercialism often put him at odds with studios, resulting in lost roles and career setbacks. He was known to be abrasive and difficult, refusing to compromise his artistic standards, which led to professional isolation. His heavy drinking worsened his mood swings and estranged him from close friends and family. In his later years, Mason battled loneliness and fractured relationships with his children, some of whom distanced themselves from his volatile nature. He died on July 27, 1984, aged 75, from a heart attack. Christopher Plummer was born December 13, 1929, and portrayed Herod Antipas in Jesus of Nazareth at age 48. His Herod was a flamboyant, paranoid ruler, reflecting Plummer's real-life reputation for sharp wit and biting criticism. Plummer's distinguished career spanned decades but was punctuated by a series of personal controversies, including a bitter and highly publicized divorce that revealed a volatile private life filled with rumored affairs and family estrangement. Known for his bluntness, he often clashed with directors and co-stars, unwilling to soften his views or compromise his artistic vision. Plummer's arrogance sometimes alienated those around him, and behind the charm lay struggles with depression and loneliness. His later years were marred by a severe fall that led to complications, culminating in his death on February 5, 2021, at 91. Despite these challenges, he remains a towering figure whose life off-screen was as dramatic and complex as any role he played. Laurence Olivier was born on May 22, 1907, and portrayed Nicodemus in Jesus of Nazareth at age 70. Nicodemus was a conflicted Pharisee, embodying internal struggle and secret defiance, traits that paralleled Olivier's complex persona. Renowned as a Shakespearean titan, Olivier's career was peppered with brilliance but also scandal, particularly his turbulent and famously tempestuous marriage to Vivien Leigh. Their volatile relationship featured public arguments, infidelities, and Leigh's battle with bipolar disorder, all casting long shadows on Olivier's life. On set, Olivier was a perfectionist with a ruthless streak, often alienating cast and crew through his demanding nature and manipulative tendencies. Colleagues recall his habit of undermining rivals and exerting control, fostering an atmosphere of tension. Beneath his charismatic and refined exterior, Olivier grappled with insecurity and bouts of heavy drinking. Despite his artistic genius, his personal life was riddled with emotional upheaval and betrayal. He passed away on July 11, 1989, aged 82, from renal failure. Donald Pleasence, born October 5, 1919, portrayed Melchior, one of the Magi, in Jesus of Nazareth at age 58. His character exuded mysticism and solemn reverence, contrasting with Pleasence's often troubled off-screen life. A World War II prisoner of war, Pleasence carried deep psychological scars that manifested as eccentric and sometimes erratic behavior in his later years. Although he avoided major public scandals, his reputation for unpredictability made him a difficult collaborator. Stories abound of volatile mood swings and secretive withdrawals from social settings. Pleasence's personal life was marked by several failed marriages and estrangement from his children, often citing his obsession with work and internal demons. Behind his haunting performances was a man wrestling with trauma, isolation, and depression. He struggled quietly with health issues and emotional pain until his death on February 2, 1995, at 75, from complications related to heart valve surgery. His legacy remains enigmatic, blending profound artistry with shadows of personal torment. Fernando Ray was born on September 20, 1917, and portrayed Gaspar, one of the Magi, in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at 60 years old. Gaspar was characterized as serene, wise, and deeply spiritual, providing a calm counterbalance in the film's narrative. Ray was revered in European cinema, but his off-screen life was fraught with emotional isolation. Known for his cold perfectionism and aloofness, he often clashed with directors and crew, earning a reputation as difficult and distant. Behind his composed exterior, Ray suffered from deep depression and dissatisfaction with his personal relationships, including a long, unhappy marriage marked by infidelities and estrangement. Though he never faced public scandal, insiders whispered about his harsh temperament and bouts of loneliness that contributed to his withdrawal from social life. His obsession with control extended to his work, causing delays and tensions on film sets. He died of bladder cancer on March 9, 1994, aged 76. Anthony Quinn was born on April 21, 1915, and played Caiaphas in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 62. Caiaphas, the high priest who masterminded Jesus' trial, was portrayed as ruthless, politically shrewd, and desperate to preserve the religious establishment's power. Quinn's career was glittering but riddled with storms. His personal life was equally chaotic. Fathering 13 children with multiple women, he was notorious for infidelities and volatile relationships. His ego often made him a difficult presence on set, sparking clashes with directors and co-stars alike. Behind his commanding performances was a man wrestling with deep insecurities and bouts of anger that sometimes spilled into public incidents. Quinn's multiple marriages ended in bitter divorces, and some of his children distanced themselves, publicly criticizing his neglect and emotional unavailability. Despite his artistic achievements, his personal demons often eclipsed his legacy. He succumbed to pneumonia complicated by throat cancer on June 3, 2001, aged 86. Ralph Richardson was born on December 19, 1902, and portrayed Simeon, the devout and prophetic man who recognized Jesus as the Messiah, in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at the age of 75. Despite his extraordinary talent and critical acclaim, Richardson's personal life was marked by a complex blend of brilliance and eccentricity. Known for his peculiar habits, such as famously walking a pet mouse on a leash in public, and a sharp, often biting wit, he could be socially difficult and unpredictable. Throughout his life, Richardson battled anxiety and is believed to have struggled with alcohol dependency, which he often masked behind his eccentric behavior. His disdain for fame and the public spotlight led him to withdraw from the social scene, becoming increasingly reclusive in his later years, which strained many of his personal and professional relationships. This solitude contributed to a perception of him as a tragic figure, a misunderstood genius burdened by loneliness despite his success. He passed away peacefully from a stroke on October 10, 1983, aged 80. Ian Bannon was born on June 29, 1928, and played Amos in Jesus of Nazareth at age 49, portraying a humble, steadfast follower. Although respected as a gifted character actor with an Oscar nomination to his name, Bannon's life was haunted by alcoholism, which frequently derailed his career and caused personal chaos. He was part of the notorious hard-drinking British acting circle that included Peter O'Toole and Richard Burton, a lifestyle that exacerbated his struggles with addiction and contributed to erratic, sometimes violent behavior. His turbulent marriage was marred by domestic disputes, and he became increasingly estranged from his children as his personal demons deepened. Despite the warmth he radiated on screen, behind the scenes Bannon wrestled with instability and loneliness, often alienating colleagues with his unpredictability. His tragic death in a car accident on November 3, 1999, at age 71 cut short a life defined by immense talent and persistent hardship, leaving the acting world mourning a complicated figure who never fully escaped his inner turmoil. Rod Steiger was born on April 14, 1925, and played Pontius Pilate, the conflicted Roman governor torn between his duty and personal conscience, in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 52. While his method acting earned him praise, his career was overshadowed by intense personal challenges, including severe depression and alcoholism that often led to erratic and volatile behavior on and off set. Steiger was notorious for his explosive temper, frequently clashing with co-stars and directors, which contributed to his reputation as a difficult actor to work with. These struggles, combined with bouts of self-doubt, led him to reject significant roles in films such as Patton and The Godfather, decisions later viewed as major professional missteps. His personal life was equally tumultuous, marked by multiple failed marriages and estranged relationships with his children, revealing a pattern of instability and emotional turmoil. He died on July 9, 2002, aged 77, from complications related to pneumonia and kidney failure. Peter Eustanov was born on April 16, 1921, and portrayed Herod the Great in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at 56, skillfully embodying the paranoid, ruthless, and vain king obsessed with securing his power and legacy. Eustanov was a true Renaissance man, an actor, writer, director, and diplomat, whose intellect and wit were legendary in the entertainment world. Behind his charismatic public persona, however, lay a more complicated character. Eustanov's sharp humor sometimes masked a controlling streak and a temper that could alienate collaborators. Though he avoided public scandals, colleagues occasionally criticized him for his tendency to manipulate situations to safeguard his creative control and reputation. His wide-ranging talents led him to juggle multiple disciplines, which some viewed as overextension and detracting from his focus. On a personal level, Eustanov experienced bouts of loneliness despite his widespread success and was plagued by health problems as he aged. He remained active in public life until his death from heart failure on March 28, 2004, aged 82. Ian Holm, born September 12, 1931, played the sharply skeptical Pharisee Zira in Jesus of Nazareth at 46, embodying religious rigidity and political fear with compelling subtlety. Holm's distinguished career was anything but smooth. He famously battled debilitating stage fright that abruptly halted his theater work in the 1960s. This struggle deeply affected his confidence and professional choices, leading him to retreat from live performance for years. His personal life was equally tumultuous, with 4 marriages ending in divorce amid accusations of infidelity and emotional abuse. Holm's reputation on set was mixed. Some praised his intense focus, while others accused him of being cold and uncooperative. His strained family relationships and penchant for secrecy fueled tabloid speculation. Despite his acting brilliance, Holm's private battles and fractured personal ties painted a complex portrait. He died on June 19, 2020, at 88 from complications related to Parkinson's disease. Olivia Hussey was born on April 17, 1951, and portrayed Mary, the mother of Jesus, in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at the young age of 26. However, behind the scenes, Hussey's life was far from serene. She endured a series of abusive relationships and struggled silently for decades with mental health issues, including depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which she later bravely revealed. Despite her public acclaim, her personal life was troubled, marked by estranged relationships with her children and a string of tumultuous romantic involvements that compounded her emotional pain. Hussey's battles with addiction and trauma were largely hidden from public view until she courageously shared her story in a memoir, shedding light on the darker aspects of her life and the toll fame had taken on her well-being. Her resilience in facing these challenges became a defining part of her identity, overshadowing her early success as Shakespeare's Juliet and Romeo and Juliet. Olivia Hussey passed away on December 27, 2024, aged 73, from breast cancer. Sirill Cuzak was born on November 26, 1910, and portrayed Yehuda in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 67. His Yehuda was a quietly intense, devout figure who carried a heavy moral weight, mirroring Cuzak's own gravitas as an actor. Despite his revered status in Irish theatre, Cuzak's career was peppered with episodes of volatile temperament. He was infamous for power struggles with directors, often undermining collaborative efforts with his stubbornness and sharp tongue. Offstage, his personal life revealed a more troubled man. Several of his children, including prominent actors, spoke of their father's controlling nature and emotional distance. Rumors circulated about his excessive drinking habits, which fueled family tensions and occasional public outbursts. His second marriage was marked by public arguments and accusations of infidelity, contributing to a fractured family dynamic. Though celebrated professionally, Cuzak's personal shadows never fully receded. He died on October 7, 1993, at 82 from motor neuron disease. Lee Montague was born on October 16, 1927, and portrayed the prophetic Habakkuk in Jesus of Nazareth at age 50, delivering a performance steeped in moral gravity and spiritual intensity. Mangu was respected for his commanding presence but carried a reputation for being cold and difficult, with a penchant for isolating himself from the typical celebrity scene. His serious demeanor masked a private struggle with alcohol addiction, which he worked hard to conceal from the public and many colleagues. Known to be unforgiving and exacting, he often clashed with fellow actors and directors, creating an atmosphere of tension on set. Friends described him as emotionally distant and sometimes harsh, refusing to tolerate what he deemed unprofessional behavior. Mangu's personal life was shrouded in secrecy, with few details emerging about his relationships, feeding rumors of loneliness and personal demons. He died on March 30, 2025, aged 97, leaving behind a long but enigmatic legacy marked by dedication to craft and private battles. Martin Benson was born August 10, 1918, and appeared as a Pharisee in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 59. Known for his portrayals of mysterious and foreign villains, Benson's quiet professionalism hid a private life marred by anxiety and scandal. Reports from film sets revealed Benson as difficult, prone to sudden fits of anger, and alienating even longtime collaborators with his secretive and controlling nature. A scandal erupted when a former co-star publicly accused him of an affair that turned toxic, with threats of blackmail and attempts to suppress the truth. Benson's obsession with gambling spiraled out of control, causing severe financial hardship that forced him into secret loans and eventually withdrawing from public life. Despite his longevity, his later years were marked by solitude and regret. He passed away peacefully in his sleep on February 28, 2010, aged 91, having carried a hidden burden behind his stern exterior. Robert Batty was born October 19, 1909, and portrayed Proculus, the shrewd Roman officer in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 68. Batty's dignified and authoritative screen presence belied a far more complex and turbulent personal life. Known for a stern aloofness, he cultivated a public image of professionalism but privately engaged in a series of secretive, scandalous affairs that wrecked several friendships and strained his family ties. His controlling and manipulative tendencies extended to the workplace, where reports of on-set bullying and erratic behavior grew, contributing to his gradual blacklisting in major productions. His relationship with his children deteriorated, culminating in estrangement and public disapproval, which Batty rarely addressed. Despite his acclaimed roles, including a memorable part in 2001, A Space Odyssey, his final years were marked by bitterness and declining health. He died of pneumonia on March 3, 1992, at age 82, leaving behind a reputation complicated by private scandals. Francis DeWolf was born January 7, 1913, and embodied the proud and judgmental Simon the Pharisee in Jesus of Nazareth, 1977, at age 64. His booming voice and commanding presence made him a natural fit for villainous roles, but offstage, DeWolf was infamous for a tempestuous and volatile personality that led to multiple professional conflicts. Known for violent outbursts, he once physically confronted a producer during a heated dispute, an incident that was hushed up but circulated in theater gossip for years. Persistent rumors of prescription drug abuse fueled his erratic behavior and strained performances, while his marriage suffered under the weight of infidelity and emotional abuse allegations. His volatile temperament made him feared and often avoided by peers, contributing to his social isolation late in life. Despite his talent, these dark facets overshadowed his career, culminating in a quiet death on April 18, 1984, aged 71, his legacy entwined with both respect and scandal. Who's your favorite character in Jesus of Nazareth? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.